All right, Shadows of Brimstone fans. Today we're going to take a look at the expansion in Shadows of Brimstone of the Undead Outlaws. Let's do it. Oh, look at this beautiful box. We're going to have ourselves a good look inside. Let's see what's there. Oh yeah, a ton of stuff in here. Now, I took out the... Let me just share with you real quick. I'll probably pull them and let you look at them, but it comes with a bunch of these extra little cards, and I've got some of them in here, so I think all of those are in here. All right, yeah, they are. All right, so let's take a look here. This amazingness. First of all, before we get in there, we got our cards, we got a bunch of tokens, we got our rules, deeper explanations, and of course the enemy cards, and we'll go over each one of those real quick. First things we're going to do is let's take at the minis, which I've already assembled, and I'm terrible at this. I know some of you are yelling at me like, you should keep those separate. I put a kind of a off green, maybe a very dull looking kind of a primer on them. I'll do a zoom up here in a second. But anyway, there's three types of models of these, the Undead Outlaws, as I just throw them across my floor there. So we got this guy here with the pose, with his clothes falling off. I like how everything's kind of connected here. And like I said, I put basically just like this, I don't know if you want to call it like a greenish, and what I like to call a ghoulish primer, because these are Undead Outlaws, and when they become infamous, they become specific types. So what I'm going to do is, instead of going into super detail like a good painter would, since I'm terrible at painting, this is the other model here, I really like the pose on this guy, that I'm just going to probably do some lightly brushing with like kind of a whiter, like a white-ish color, or if not, maybe a white-green, and just kind of highlight some areas so it kind of gives it that ghostly feel, so the whole figure will look ghostly, but that's my plan for the finishing. But anyway, you get 3 of each of those type of characters, and then you get the really cool boss figure, which is the Undead Gunslinger himself. Check out this guy. I mean, just gorgeous. I mean, from the holsters to the pose to his cape that has the holes like in it where he's been shot up all those years. And he's even got a, sorry, I put my extra little magnifying light up, but you can see like the skull eyes. So you detailed painters will really love getting in there and taking care of that sort of thing. So I may even put some yellow on the tips here, make it look like fire's bursting out. Now, let me go ahead and show you the threat cards next, because, oh man, I really love that Undead figure there. He looks really awesome. Okay. And I'm going to explain these as we do them here. Let's see. So those are the low threats. Okay, so we got low, and your medium, high, and epic. But let me give you a more detailed of each one here. So on your low threats, you could get, using the peril die, a number of Undead Outlaws, and there's 2 of those cards in there. Or you can get D3 +1 infamous Undead Outlaws, and you might be, well, what's the difference? Well, right here, it shows you that you're going to use one of the infamous Undead cards that we're going to look at here in a second to show you what kind of undead they could be when they become infamous. Then they'll have like special abilities and different things. And then they have the Gunslinger Challenge. Now, under this here, like it even kind of gives you a little flavor text, which I love here. It says, the lights flicker and dim as the undead gunslinger steps out of the shadows. The hero posse must immediately engage in an Undead Gunslinger Challenge. In this situation, in the Undead Gunslinger Challenge, you put the figure out there, but it doesn't really matter where the figure is, and you're basically going to be doing almost like an initiative war, like 6s versus your 6s, and if he every 6 of yours cancels a 6 of his, and everyone that gets through is like little shots, and you have to deal with those cards as damage. But anyway, let's go ahead and just show you the rest of these regular threat stuff here. So you get straight up 6, no rolling. You're getting the maximum at medium threats, and then a peril die of the infamous undead, and then there's 2 Undead Gunslinger challenges at the medium level. At the high level, you get 6 undead plus a medium threat card. And or you can get the 6 infamous Undead Outlaws, straight up maxed out. And then there's also at this at the high level, you get 2 of the Undead Gunslinger Challenge. But if you want to face the Undead Gunslinger himself, you're only going to be able to do that on an epic threat, which is this guy here. And it shows you your hero level if you've got 1 to 2, 3 to 4, 5 to 6 heroes, how many outlaws will join him. But you also have to face the Undead Gunslinger because it says and and that's interesting. And then right here is the infamous. So that right there, so these 2 are going to be Undead Outlaws. And if you draw this one, this is even harder. You're going to get infamous Undead Outlaws. Although it looks like they do cater a little bit down because it's going to be a little tougher on the challenge itself. Okay, so let me just go here. So these are the different types of cards that you get with it, and so let's just cover some gear real quick first before we get to even the better. So right here, there's the Fallen Gunfighter's pistol. Got a range of 6, 3 shots. Once per turn, you may take 3 wounds, ignoring defense, and add +2 damage to hit with the Fallen Gunslinger's pistol. Just one weight icon, one-handed, 550, and there's 2 of those in there. There's one of these. You get a Tattered Duster as a possible gear card anytime you would take Corruption Point. Roll a d6. On the roll of 5+, prevent it. It also adds 2 health. It has 2 upgrade slots, which is nice. Worth some mucho dinero right there, my friends. You get a Cursed Coin you could get for gear. It actually has 2 Darkstone present on it. So when you do checks at the end for corruption, that'll be 2 more checks you have to make at the end of an adventure. Once per adventure or / town stay, choose a die. That die rolled a 1 or a 6, you'll flip a coin. And then right here it says, heads, reverse the roll 1 becomes 6. Tails, take 1 corruption hit, but the cursed coin may be used again during this adventure town stay town stay, though not for the same roll. It says, may not be sold, traded, or discarded except by curing a curse, because this is a cursed item. And even has it under here under charm, curse, and gear. And then there's the Dead Man's Poncho, which gives you +3 sanity, and you get to ignore weather effects, and has 1 upgrade, and has a little bit of money value there. I love all those gear cards, by the way. Okay, so these are the nasty Undead Slinger Challenge there. Let's go ahead and get into something real interesting before we get into the rest of these right here. Okay, so basically these are the different gangs. So when you draw an infamous undead, you will have to face a specific type of enemy instead of just the regular ones on the card. So it tells you a little bit about them. I won't read all of them, but I will read the Rooker game for you. So they're infamous Undead Outlaws. It says, a fearsome band of outlaws from the 1850s, the Rooker gang robbed every bank and camp from Uxbridge to Charlotte's Mill. There's little left of them now except for bones and hate. So they're skeletal. So you know that now you're facing more skeletons. +2 move, +2 initiative. And they have fear bullets. All Rooker gang ranged to hit rolls of 6+, also cost 3 horror hits that do 2 sanity damage each. And of course, it shows you your XP here. We've got the Lost Marshals, and right here, the Lost Marshals, they carry rusty shotguns. Twin irons are replaced with rusty shotguns. Twin irons will be on the bigger card, which I'll show you in a little bit. And then they have the Tarnished 10. It says all Lost Marshals are +1 shot for each wound it currently has. So I think I really love the idea of these infants because it really feels like, oh, well, you can either just face basic, the Undead Outlaws, or they could be infamous, a famous gang that you're trying to take on here. Okay, these guys use dynamite. I almost said deadamite. When about to make a ranged attack, roll a d6. On the roll of a 5 or a 6, throws dynamite instead. Place a dynamite token in the target space and roll to hit. This works like normal dynamite in every way for bounce, etc. They also have raspy cackling. Explosive, such as dynamite, only reduce their defense to 2 rather than fully ignoring it. Wow, that's pretty interesting. So they got +5 experience on that. All right, so these are specters. So the ethereal specters, that gives them +2 move and may move through other models. That's nice. Reduced to 3 health or 5 if brutal, but may not take more than 1 wound. They have Terrifying Fear 2 is replaced with Terror 2. If combined with the Elite chart, Ruthless Outlaws ability, this becomes Unspeakable Terror 2. Woo! Yeah, hopefully that hasn't got to that part of it. And then we have the McMillan Boys. I think I lived across from those. Oh, no, those are the Jones Boys. Okay, Bloated Bodies, +2 health. So these are really like some swole zombie probably. So they've got, yeah, they're definitely zombies. Brain Hungry, +2 move and +1 combat. Shootout ability is replaced with Assault, but their twin irons are reduced to only shots 2 or 3 shots if brutal. The XP is 15. But I really love, like, even if I never face Undead Gunslinger, I would definitely always put this in there because it adds such a cool flavor to it. I'm actually going to save the encounters for last. I'm going to go over some of the Undead shots here. I was going to see a lot of these are pretty powerful. So when you're facing the Undead Gunslinger challenge, for every failure that you make, versus I think it basically like an initiative check. I can go over it more in detail if you want later, guys. Just let me know in the comments. But it says, I'm just going to give you the flavor text on this one real quick. And it says, okay, rapid fire, dead man shot, which is the card. Blazing away, the Undead Gunslinger pours fire onto his target with the hate of the grave. Okay, and then it's like, instead of doing normal damage for this shot, the hero must immediately take D6 wounds with damage equal to the hero level of the target. So these are all pretty nasty. Okay, this one is the Cursed Bullet. So in the defense, it says if the defense roll is failed, this shot causes 3 damage and 3 corruption points, ignoring willpower. So you just get 3 corruption points, just like that. Okay, so this is the Terror shot. When the Undead Gunslinger bully hits you for this, this shot does no damage, but instead causes 2d6 horror hits. So this is probably the least offensive, I think, so far that we've read, in my opinion, that I'd rather deal with if I had to draw one. And this one is the Grip of Death. Ooh, this shot does d6 damage, ignoring defense, and the target is -1 initiative for their next activation, or -2 if keyword Law, Outlaw, or Holy. And that covers a lot of classes right there. So I think I'd still rather take the horror hits. Okay, Revenge from the Grave. This shot does 3 damage, ignoring defense to the target as well as any other adjacent heroes. So this is just a straight up, if you get this, bam, 3 damage. No rolls, no saves, no backsies, whatever. Okay, and then we got the Devil's Calling. This one might be the meanest. This shot does 12 damage and ignores any armor the hero might have. Normal defense applies roll. So you can do a defensive roll, but it does 12 damage and ignores armor. And everybody knows when you're taking a lot of damage, armor in this game is really good. I basically first used armor seriously in the when I played the Samurai expansion, the Forbidden Fortress. So these are the new encounter cards you get to mix in. So there is a Shootout Massacre, and it's an environmental card, it says, and blood is the keywords. Okay, so you're going to choose one. So I'm going to just read this first one to you. It says, the stench of death hits you long before the lantern's light illuminates the room. Massacred bodies cover the ground, riddled with bullets. The sight of a bloody outlaw. Shootout. And then it says choose. You're either going to search the bodies or step over the gore. So if you choose to search the bodies, you need a cunning check 5+. It says any hero that passes the test may draw a loot card. If fewer than half the heroes pass the test, some of the dead outlaws rise back up. Wow. Okay, some of the dead outlaws rise back up, and then they're going to ambush attack you for undead outlaws with the peril die number of them. Wow. Okay, so you want to have more people pass it, or you can just step over the gore. So luck +5, and it looks like you're only going to use a random hero to determine this here. It says, if failed, one of the dying outlaws curses you for not stopping to help. You gain a curse to be -1 luck. Oh, wow. Wow. I didn't realize that you actually get a curse. And it's not the worst one because you're just going to be -1 luck. But, hey, make your rolls. So there's 2 of those in there. And then we've got the Fallen Gunfighter. So this one here, says this hero posse must immediately engage in an Undead Gunslinger challenge. And then it shows us quick draw dice, how many hits to banish 3 plus your hero posse level, and then gain 25 XP per hit you do. Okay, here's one. I'm so thirsty. One random hero must choose to either discard 1 whiskey token, handing it over to the thirsty spirit. I probably should have read the flavor text on that. Or take D6 plus 2 sanity damage, ignoring willpower. As the spectral outlaw lashes out in anger before fading back into darkness. Wow, that is, these encounters are just so interesting. Okay, then a shot in the back. I'm going to read the flavor text on this. Okay, so it says, shot in the back. Excuse me, clear my throat. Shot in the back and left for dead. A falling wall man has scratched something into the wall. You lean close to try to decipher the crude writing. Perhaps it's a warning of things to come. You need a lore 6 check. Okay, if passed, you decipher the message, gaining 50 experience points. And during the first turn of the next fight, this adventure, every hero gains +2 shots/combat. Hero's choice for that activation. If failed, you are haunted by the specter of the betrayed lawman. Roll a d6 to see what curse you gain as he haunts you. Oh, wow, you can keep getting curses with that. I love it. So if you roll a 1, you're going to get a curse of -1 max grit. If you roll a 2, you're going to get -3 health. Ooh, a 3 or 4, -3 sanity. Ooh, my goodness. 5, -1 luck. And 6, 6 is a really random. The curse worked backwards. It gives you +1 max grit. Okay, so there could be a silver lining in this. But anyway, those are the whatever cards there. And of course, it goes over again how to do the shootout rules, which basically it gives you these shootout tokens, which I'll just fan real quick for you here. But basically, they're going to do an ambush, a retreat. And the shootout, they use these little target things here, and I'll just get this. So it's target a random hero with shootout marker, and then move the shortest distance, range of line of sight, while not ending adjacent to any heroes. Move through other enemy models of the same type if reached the shootout marker on the target. Otherwise, at the end of its move, the target random in a space within range of line of sight, and then place it. So then you're going to make range attacks. So once all the so basically you're going to end up spreading the shootout markers evenly, between the guys, and retreat lets them kind of back up on that. So it says make ranged attacks once all the enemy group has moved and place shootout markers. Roll the ranged attacks against the heroes for each shootout marker on them, then remove all shootout markers. So it can be quite a bit of attacks against you for that. This explains the Undead Gunslinger challenge. This just reminds you what assault is, and if you have, like I do, the target core set, then it explains how assault works. Basically, your placement, targeting, and movement. Enemies with the assault ability are placed, target, and move just like normal enemies. Ranged attack at the end of its movement. So after it's done moving, even if the enemy did not move at all this turn, it makes a free ranged attack against its current target using the ranged attack described in its abilities list. If the enemy does not have a target currently or cannot reach a hero to make a melee attack, it will move as normal and then make its free ranged attack at a random hero with line of sight and range, prioritizing heroes that are not already targeted or fired on by other enemies of the same specific type first. All other enemies in the group should target and move before any of them make their free range attack. So basically, assault, a lot of people, I look online and they really confuse it, but basically, you're just moving up to your, assault is like moving up, trying to do a melee attack if you can, and either way, you're still going to take a shot. The only difference is, are you adjacent when you take the shot, or are you farther away? And this is reminding you of how the quick rules show you, there's an expansive rules, and I won't read all those, but basically the setup is when the heroes find themselves in a Undead Gunslinger challenge, the lights go dim and all the other action pauses and the challenge is complete. Place the Undead Gunslinger model anywhere on the board near the heroes. His exact placement does not matter for this challenge. Also, get out his Dead Man Shot cards, which I have shown you, and it says there's going to be a face-off. And during this face-off, sorry, I'm getting a glare from it. You guys aren't getting glare. Maybe I'll just read through my camera. Okay, it says, choose one of the heroes to face off against the Undead Gunslinger. The hero rolls dice equal to the initiative. The Undead Gunslinger rolls dice equal to his quick draw value. And it says, for each 6 rolled by the Gunslinger, the hero must draw and resolve 1 Dead Man Shot card. For each 6 rolled by the hero, they may either do 1 hit to the Gunslinger or cancel one of the Gunslinger's 6s. So that's pretty interesting for that. Then it says, next here, the heroes must take turns facing off against Undead until he takes enough hits to banish him. No hero may face off again until all heroes have had a face off. So he's basically, until he's banished, he's going to sit there until he basically takes 3+ posse level hits, I believe, for that. And these are just some quick tokens. You can probably look at them through the bag. I'm not going to really go crazy for these, but these are the shootout markers. They're very nice and glossy. These are some dead man shots. Here's the cursed coin, so you can actually keep that, which is cool. The rusty badge, which, you know, is pretty cool. But I actually do. You know what? I don't know if they make a metal version of this, but I would like someone to be able to fabricate that for me. Oh my gosh, that'd be amazing. So anyway, those are the basic, just simple tokens you get in the game. And the last little bit of goodness here, guys, I know I've been talking a lot about this, are the enemy cards, but this is basically what the little cards show you. It's just breaking down everything that the cards say. So it talks about it in better detail. So if you didn't understand something, it'll show you how it is. Oh, I almost forgot though. It does give you 2 new missions. So it's like there's 2 new missions included in this deluxe enemy pack. And so, if you know, specifically for this, so you can actually cater a nice little night adventure with your friends doing the 2 Undead Gunslinger missions. And so, what is mission 1 called here? It says Wanted, Dead or Alive, and this other one's called Revenge of the Dead. And I won't get into that. And it even gives you some FAQ of how some of the stuff works, how to paint it on the back guide. But let's take a quick look at these. So you're, I'm gonna have to get us a little room here, guys. Sorry about this. Okay. I am a mess. Maybe if I come down from a better angle here, it won't be as bad here. Kind of using this extra table. Okay, so Undead Gunslinger here. Of course, Undead Outlaws. You got the Fear 2. You guys know what this does. Twin Irons. He's got a range of 6, 4 shots, damage 2. And then infamous Undead Outlaws have Gritty. So once you draw the infamous ones, they will also gain this as well. They got to hit 4 and 4. The combat is 1. And so there's a roll and die, but it's 3 damage. They got 4 defense, which is great being undead, and 5 health. And I won't go through all the elites, but if you want to pause the video, that looks like it's in a pretty good frame. You could pause and watch it. And of course, the brutal side, I'm not going to go over it, but his stats are better. And you can just quickly pause the video if you want to look at any of the specific elite or whatever abilities. Now, the Undead Gunslinger himself, he's got Terror 2. Of course, he's got, you know, Shootout keyword up there. He's got Dead Man 6-shooter, so it shows when you're actually facing the model himself. This is when you were actually facing the epic encounter. So you got a range of 8, shots 2, damage 2 with that. It says to hit rolls of 6, then you also draw a dead man shot instead of normal damage. So that's interesting. So that's like a crit for him. He's got fastest dead in the west. After selecting a target and moving places the peril die shootout markers split between targets within range and line of sight. Each shootout marker is a ranged attack with a dead man's 6-shooter. Nice. Endurance 3, cannot take more than 3 wounds from any single hit. So, wow, whoa, very nice. Regeneration heals 2 wounds at the start of each turn. So, this guy, you can't do more than 3 to him in a turn, and then you can't during activation, and you can't, he's got a shields of armor of 4 and a health of 3, 10, plus 3 per hero. So, even if I'm playing this with my Bandito by myself, that's 13 hit points. That's a tough kill. He's got a combat, he rolls 4 dice. 4 damage for each hit that goes through, and his range is excellent, and his melee is not that good. And I'm just going to not read his abilities, but I'll just give the title. He's got a Cold Stare, a Ruthless Outlaw for lead ability, Quick Draw, Regeneration, H, and then Hunger for Revenge. And then if you need to look at that, you can pause it and look at it. And sorry if I'm going kind of fast here. And then on this side, you get the brutal version, and I'm not going to worry about it too much on there. I'm just going to kind of slowly pan through this, and you can see how he goes from 4 to 4 to 6 to 6, and 18 plus 3, so he is brutal. And then all his abilities still apply for elite abilities, and even better, only misses on a 1 with his ranged attack on that. Wow, so really cool. So, guys, that's everything in the Shadows of Brimstone Undead Outlaws pack. I hope you've enjoyed looking at that. And as always, my friends, thank you for watching, and keep the dice rolling.